Thanks, Vishal, for taking our time. And the topic, it's around and about AI, artificial intelligence, and generative AI. Before we delve deep into what the technology is all about and what DhiWise is doing there, I want to understand from Vishal's perspective, where did that shift from conventional tech to AI happen? And how did you decide that, okay, you were at that cusp inflection point कि अब AI सामने है. So how did you decide that, okay, do you want to go there or not want to go there?
So it's quite interesting question because being a 91 born, we see a kind of a transition from a telephone to mobile.
Correct.
Cyber cafe to having an internet in a phone, from a Orkut world to Instagram and everything. So it's like a kind of, sometimes I feel privileged to see all this transition, and now a transition of a manual work to a world of a DhiWise.
Correct.
Because when we watch a movie like Iron Man 1, 2, 3, it was like, okay, a sci-fi movie is good. It will not be possible even in our lifetime. That was a thought when we first see a DhiWise or a Matrix or this kind of a movie, but we see this become reality. And now this time is like where I used to say, when someone will ask me a question like, what is your plan after 6 months or a 12 months or a 5-year plan? I say like, we are living in a world where even you cannot predict the next 5 days.
Exactly.
So the biggest thing is you need to change your thought process. Now you cannot plan for a 1 year. Now you cannot plan for a 6 month. Just plan for the next 3 months. Just stay relevant in the market, because we are living in a hype cycle. Every day there are new things. Definitely this will settle down. But till the time it gets settled down, you need to be really close to these things. Like let me take an example of programmers, because like we are in a DevFest. In India, we are just talking about Anthropic and the OpenAI. Like Anthropic is better than the OpenAI, but no one is talking about the Magic.dev. No one is talking about a Poolside. In SF, there are another 10 new LLM models, which is getting trained on just code base.
Correct.
And they are having like almost $500 million, more than $1 billion of fund. Magic.dev is claiming they are going to have a context of 100K token size.
My God.
Here people are just trying to figure out what is the difference between the OpenAI and the Anthropic versus the Poolside, which recently got a fund of $500 million, and they are building a LLM only for a big enterprises like an IBM and all, versus here we are figuring out, will you train your models on my data? It's not fundamentally yours. You export from somewhere, you just put it inside your IDE. So we need to change the thought process, and I will not able to say like what I think after 6 months or 1 year, but to be in the cusp of the AI, what I always used to say like, okay, I need to spend my time on the new learnings, I need to stay relevant, I need to follow the right people, because you cannot learn AI concept by following the influencers. You need to, because like see, it's their business to create the content and getting the money. But with this podcast, I want to convey my message to all the students and whoever is going to watch this video. If you want to be relevant, if you really want to see what is happening in the AI, follow those developers, follow those researchers. That's where you will get the right knowledge. By following the influencer, you will get the knowledge that is there in the market, which is already in the hype cycle. But if you want to stay ahead in the curve, you need to follow those people who are building it right now. Like the person who take an exit from OpenAI, what is building right now? What is doing? How is making AI more feasible? What is like we are talking about the agentic AI, AGI and what not. So you need to follow the right people to get the right thing, and that's what I'm doing. So I don't think about like 6 month or 1 year plan. My belief is just to stay relevant in the market, and in my keynote I talk about like stay curious. That's the only edge that you have, and just focus on your vision to build the right thing for the right people.
Exactly. No, I'm really fascinated in a very subtle way that you in the subtle way that you've put the message across, that while we are saying that the world changes every day, but we still can stay ahead of the curve by just following people who are building the future right now. What I've realized, Vishal, is while all these massive shifts happened from horses to cars, then from hand grenades to tanks, then the whole space race, then computers happened, then PCs, then internet, then blockchain, and now AI. Some 7-8 inflection points that the world has seen. In my sense, and in the history that I have gone through, I think this is the time when people are going against the new technological shift in a larger number compared to all the other adaptations that have happened so far,
Exactly.
right? So when, and I'm sure you also get a lot of these questions.
True.
Because you're working in the domain.
True.
You've been building and you have your future plans as well. How do you address that apprehensive approach towards technology?
So very simple phenomena which I call the first principles. So you need to fundamentally think what is the difference between the past industrial revolution and the current industrial revolution. So in my multiple talk I talk about this, like we talk about the mobile adoption and everything, but
Correct.
how many years it took to travel mobile from a US to India?
Correct.
Almost 60 years.
60 years.
How many years it took to come industries, this assembly line from a world to India? Hundreds of years. Second thing, what level of investment you require to adopt it? Like for an example, assembly line, it requires millions of dollars.
Millions.
Every Indian may not have that kind of money.
Correct.
So that was a different time to altogether. When mobile came, like 8 rupees incoming,
Correct.
16 rupees outgoing,
Yeah.
no one was
No
able
one-
to
correct.
afford the mobile and internet till now. Now because of Jio, things has been
course.
changed. But this is a 3 years. But in world, it was there from a 30 years. But with the LLM, what happens is like this is the biggest shift that came through the because of an internet or whatever base that we have, the fundamental base. Till now we didn't have the fundamental base. Geography was very different, geopolitics were very different. So
Correct.
fundamentally things are very different. So you need to think like that, like okay, in how much time people are adopting it, and that's why in today's keynote as well I talk about, don't get resist about this new technology, just adopt it, and only thing that you need to think about how I can make it happen, whatever I want to make it happen through these particular technologies. So this is my fundamental process, like okay, this is a technology in front of me, what can be the applications, and I just think like that, okay, in a 6 or 8 month, what will be my USP? So someone from a Google team asked me a question, like when you get a pushback from a companies, like before adopting the generative AI about the data security and all, like how you are responding? I said like okay, I know Google and Microsoft will not go to a 10 developer or 20 developer companies and sign the NDA and the contract.
Correct.
I am doing that. I am going on the table and I'm saying like okay, even if you are a 10 developers company, I'm here for you. I will listen your voice. I will do a NDA. I will sign this. So even in the generative AI, you can find your fundamental things. That's where you can build your USP. This is the one thing. On the technology side, as I said, like you need to think beyond. So for an example, everyone is talking about the prompt engineering and everything. But what we see as a fundamental, again, from the first principle, the writing prompt is the biggest problem. Can I replace the prompt from the system itself? So we build the entire AI, which is completely promptless. So that's how you can stay relevant, you can think like that. So only thing is, if this is the time when you need to understand the fundamental principles instead of just adapting the methods massively. So if you want to stay relevant, just focus on the first principles of the world instead of just following the methods, copy pasting some other product and doing this job.
And they never change. First principles.
First principle will never change.
They
So
never
I
change.
used to say like if you know the principles thoroughly, you can invent your methods. But if you just follow the methods and if you stuck, no one will able to save you. So just focus on
Correct.
the core principles and you can navigate through any situation. I want to take you back to a cloud era. When cloud launched, everyone wants to move to a cloud. No one wants to use the offline software.
Correct.
Everyone moved to a SaaS, like software as a service. But still in that age also, people build a non-cloud solution, even Autodesk, all this kind of and like Photoshop and everywhere on-prem kind of and
On-premise,
software,
yeah.
and still they build their USP. So ultimately, if you know what problem you are solving, you can do this. But definitely, because of an hype cycle and everything, if you know this can be solved by AI, but I don't want to adopt this particular AI, and that's why I want to exclude it from my product, then it's a dangerous thing. Because like at that time also we see a lots of things, like I want to build a offline CRM. I don't want to put my data on cloud because someone will hack it. With this process, they were vanished.
That's
As I said,
correct.
like Nokia and Kodak, like Kodak don't want to build a digital camera because their revenue was coming from that reel, and they vanished. Ultimately, a company like in Kodak, Nokia, they don't want to believe in a smartphone and all. Why someone will click on a screen when people were habituated with this kind of a keypad. So with that thought process, it will harm you if you are not adopting AI. When you see this problem can be solved by AI, but still you want to do it manually. So it's like same. The analogy is very same. Like when you know you can give a call to someone and you can invite. Why you want to write a postcard? Because I love postcard, and that's why like I don't want to ride on the this telephonic wave and what, I will write my postcard. This thought process can harm you. Because now AI can solve everything, and that's why you need to adopt the AI. This is not just a VC hype cycle. As I said, like fundamentally you don't understand hype and the buzz. Now we already move from a hype to a buzzword. It's like it become the reality. Hype is like, okay, nothing is happening, just people are talking about it. But buzz is something where people are actually getting the benefit, and it's become the reality. So it's not just a VC hype cycle or anything. It become the reality. In 2023, still it was a concept, lots of aspirational AI, but now people are having the actionable AI, and it's same like in cloud movement, where 80%, 90% company adopt the cloud because it was a necessity. I believe the AI is a necessity in everything, because AI can solve any kind of a problem. Correct. But now it depends, like, okay, how critical it is. Do you want to adopt AI in, let's say, a surgery, because that's a life and death situation, where if AI make a mistake, you will cause a death. So that cannot be solved by AI. Maybe a prediction can be given by AI. Correct. But still it will be manual work. If you are building a product, you don't need to think about AI, because AI has a limitation. It can't be 100% accurate. So you need to take your decision wisely. So every time I used to say this thing, people are talking about the responsible AI. I always talk about use AI responsibly, and which has two different things. Like when you can use needles, why you want to use sword? So AI is a sword which has a very high cost, a long latency and everything. So in your entire product, just think what you can solve without AI, how you can put AI responsibly in your product. Responsible AI is a completely different topic. Correct. But for me, using AI responsibly is the key thing. Like you can't just do everything with like AI. You need to do a proper product planning. You need to do a proper planning, like how you are going to reduce the latency, cost and everything, and with that you can build a really good product.
So Vishal, you've been building in this space, and you very aptly mentioned about Google and Microsoft as well. Now what happens, the hype cycle goes to a buzz cycle when these major corporations shift.
Yes.
And that's when you realize it's here.
Yeah.
Now, with so many startups also coming up, do you think that transformation can also be brought in effect by these smaller corporations or companies who are developing tech every day?
Definitely. So it's so because of an internet, you are able to get a notification very quickly. Like there is a new AI startup. Eventually, it was there only. Like okay, still if I tell you like okay, give me 100 AI startup which you know, it will be very hard. Because you see a news every day, tweet and LinkedIn, it's in mind. Like there are lots of AI startup. When cloud get launched, there were lots of cloud startup. Every day there is a new application. Even like before 5 years, before GPT, even if you have any new idea in your brain, if you search about it, you will find the application.
You will find it.
Correct. So it was there. You were not actively searching for it, but because of an AI influencer world, all this internet, now you are getting notifications very quickly. There is a new startup. But if I tell you like, okay, give me 100 good website of an AI company, you will not able to figure it out. Maybe for a SaaS, you will list it out. There is a HubSpot, there is a Salesforce, there are this. But for AI, still you will not able to figure it out. So definitely there is a huge scope. Every company is going to launch AI product, AI services and everything. But again, I will say like situation is pretty similar. Definitely we are getting more startup on AI. So the shift happens from a normal cloud company to AI, but startup numbers are still there. And if I put in terms of numbers, how I can if I put it in a right way, like how many developers working in a service companies versus how many developers are working in a startup, maybe less than 20%. So still if you see, there is a huge scope. Ultimately it's just around us. Like in Delhi smoke, like okay, this city is completely polluted because you can see it. Correct. But when it will settle down, ultimately it will become a reality. Like okay, this is a new normal, and we need to just adjust ourselves with this.
On a light-hearted note, Vishal, how far do you think we are from the Terminator moment?
Not really so far. Like it's going to be happen in just 3 to 4 years, not a Terminator moment, but in an individual capacity. So let's say I openly quote this thing into my multiple speeches, like developers will be replaced with their current skills. I'm not talking about new skills, but with the current skills in next to 5 years. Like people will not work on building a mobile application or web applications in next 5 years. It will be 100% automated. They will just review it. They will make a decision. So ultimately, again, it's a Jarvis kind of a thing. I'm just giving a command and everything is happening automatically. It's going to happen and in live where everything, so the way you do everything on internet nowadays, without offline you can not able to survive for a 10 to 15 minutes even.
Correct.
We are living in that moment. Like before 5 years, if I tell you, people will not able to even people will not able to tolerate if internet goes down for 30 minutes.
Correct.
Now it's happening everywhere. Like if WhatsApp goes down for 5 minutes, people are everywhere. Like WhatsApp is down, WhatsApp is down.
Correct.
This become a reality. The same way, without AI, you will not even able to think about any work. With the Tesla, the Optimus launch, your Kamwalibai is going to be replaced. It's a hard fact. India will lose its edge of doing a worker job. It's going to be happening. US is just behind it because in India we value people. They value the time. Even they are already in a lack of resources. So they are behind every manual work that is done by the human being. Either it's a development work or any kind of a leg work from a robot to everything. They are just behind it. And you need to adapt that way, otherwise you will be irrelevant. So in a 5 years we will start seeing those movements, and once AGI will happen, no one can predict what will happen because you are replicating the human brain.
Correct.
So it's going to be dangerous.
But do you still feel that human criticality, the nuances that our nervous system carries, our brain carries, they'll control the technology, of course, but do you think that there will be a time when AGI will practically control how we think or perceive reality in general?
We are living in a world of unpredictability. Like before 1 year we were not thinking about agentic AI or anything, but it's now reality. So I will not, right now I'm believing machines cannot replace the human emotions. So let's say if I'm doing a sales, there is an emotion, but if I replace it with a chatbot or if I replace it with a robot, it's not going to happen, because like if we both are talking, you will change your question because my answer were different, my facial expression were different. Now I will say like, okay, robot will not replace you, but again when I sit quietly and when I think AGI, maybe in a real time it will detect my face expression, my body language, and it will change the question. So it's doable.
Correct.
So that human emotions can be replaceable. Correct. But as I said, like we are living in a world of unpredictability. Just stay curious, learn new things, watch world very closely. We don't know what is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years.
Right. You initially when at the beginning of the conversation, Vishal, you touched upon not following the influencers, right? So I want to digress the conversation and take us in that direction, that the easily accessible thing that everybody has these days is social media, and social media practically is ruled by influencers. Now I don't want to get into the level of their knowledge, could be shallow, could be deep, irrespective. Let's just talk about the influencer community who rules social media. It literally sparks our brains.
True.
Because one person is saying go there, other says go there, third says no, come follow me. People are confused, which is now changing human behavior.
Yes.
People are getting restless. People are not able to decide what do I need to do.
Yes.
People have lost their patience. They can't go deep. But when they go horizontal, they exhaust themselves.
True.
Eventually, they are not going anywhere.
Yes.
Right? How do you think that or rather let me rephrase this, right? How does Vishal as an individual see this changing at all, and can this be changed by using technology?
I don't know it can be changed by the technology or not, but as a Vishal, what I think is like I categorize influencers into two things. Like one is the proper influencers who make a content to make a money. It's a good business. On the other side, there is a key opinion leaders, KOL, who can also influence the world. Let's take a very simple example of Mr. Narendra Modi. He is our Prime Minister. He is not an influencer, but by default he is a key opinion leader. Whatever he will say, people will follow it. The same way, let's say if Sam Altman says something or Sundar Pichai says something, they are a key opinion leaders. Now those are the big names, so they have a different job, they need to run their business and all. But as I said, when you follow the right people from the team who has their individual voice, they don't care about what Google is saying, what OpenAI is saying something. They love what they are building and they talk about that. So if you follow this kind of key opinion leaders, you will not get that furious about like do I need to follow A, B or C, you will follow the KOL, key opinion leaders, and you will get the right knowledge. So how I balance in between the influencer and okay, influencer is good, they drive the entire social media. So whenever I get the new word in front of me, so for an example reg or agentic AI, I will not blindly put my finger on a follow button. I will take that word, I will do a research, again a first principle thinking, like why I need to believe what he is saying. God gave me a brain, I need to put it in action. I need to think like, okay, what is he saying, figure out who is the key opinion leader, who is actually doing the work, which is get spread by these influencers. And once you get to know about that particular person, it will hardly take 3 to 4 hours, not more than that. If I am curious about it, I will figure out that particular person or a key opinion leader of that particular field in 4 hours, and I will start building my, I will start understanding that field, and it will settle down my anxiousness or like what to follow, I am just left behind. It will remove the FOMO, it will remove the feeling of left behind from that entire system once you figure out that. So you just need to focus, you just need to spend 3 to 4 hours or maybe 4 days to figure out that particular part, and once you will able to figure out, you will get the good thing. Now can it be replaced by technology? Definitely I don't know the answer, but till the time technology replaces this entire stuff or make it relevant, you need to be add a few practices, and that's what I'm doing. Any unrelevant content on my feed, I just unfollow or block it. Like I don't want to see this content next time, I don't want to see this person next time, because it is just giving me anxiety by just putting wrong content on the internet or any random content on the internet just to make a follower. So I usually easily say this thing like, okay, you cannot purchase a 2000 rupees course or a book from some person who is talking about a startup, who never run a startup in his life, or who is
of course.
There are lots of buzzwords because this is a podcast, I'm not quoting a person, otherwise on stage I can quote a person in front of 1,000 people. Well, like, okay, it's not worth it to spend time on such kind of a startup influencer who is just selling their course into the, whenever you figure out a key opinion leader, he is not selling anything.
He's not selling anything, absolutely.
So whenever someone is selling anything, or whenever you see an ad in anyone's video, unfollow. Very straightforward, unless and until you just want to follow him for a fun.
Yeah, of course.
So there should be two feelings. I want to follow it for a fun, and I want to grab my knowledge. And generally I give this advice to lots of youngsters, like have 2 LinkedIn and the Twitter account or an Instagram account. One is for my learning, one is for my fun. In my learning, I will only follow like 10 to 15 people, whatever they will put in a week, I will read it. So I have 2 different accounts, and I will just watch it like, okay, maybe on a phone you cannot have 2 accounts, but just go on a browser when you are in that learning mode. Just watch those things, and by default you will stay relevant in the market. So you need to again focus on the principles, you will find your own methods. So this is my method of managing my knowledge.
No, one thing that I also agree, right, and I also have been very vocal about it, that if someone is trying to sell you something, they probably they've probably not done it.
Yes.
See, very simple, right? People say that take this 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees course,
yes,
and earn 10 lakhs. If I'm able to earn 10 lakh rupees, I have 2 opinions in front of me. Either I will give it out or I will not give it out. If I'm giving it out, I'll either charge truckloads.
Yes.
I will charge you 5 lakh rupees because you're going to earn 10 lakhs after this, or I'll give it out for free.
True.
So there is this shift that is happening. People are getting annoyed now by seeing ads for even how to tie your shoelaces.
Absolutely.
Right? People are selling courses like nobody's business.
True.
And that's not a sustainable model, but there are a lot of startups who are building their companies around these kind of financial models.
True.
Or revenue models. If they want to pivot, Vishal, what should they pivot into? Because they don't know anything else.
So again, lots of people ask me this question, how I can start my AI service or AI product. And my first question is, do you have any AI developers in your team? Most of the time answer is no.
No.
Okay. Do you understand the AI? No.
No.
How you will able to start it? Correct. So just go on a deep learning kind of a website where you will get a free courses and from a horse's mouth. So deep learning is a platform, I really loved it. So when I started, I started learning from a deep learning. I did a course from like MIT because they have the AI courses and all. So I focus on the fundamentals. And if you want to pivot, just understand in which direction you want to go. If you want to go in AI direction, clear your fundamentals first. Without clearing your fundamentals, you will not able to build anything. So consider like this: if I want to learn German or any other language, if I don't know about grammar, how even I will able to speak German language if I don't know the sentence formatting? It's not going to be possible. So even if you want to pivot into any field, just understand the fundamental of that particular field, and from there first learn, adapt it, just spend 3 to 6 months of time and then jump into it. And if you are not really keen to spend 3 to 6 months of time in learning new things, forget, you will not be able to successful. Definitely there will be some cases without learning they able to get success, but otherwise if you are not serious about spending 3 months of dedicated time on learning new things, you will not able to build it. So focus on your fundamentals, focus on your key learnings, and then jump into that. If I don't know how deep water is, if I don't know any fundamentals of swimming, how even I can jump into river?
Correct, absolutely. So one last question, Vishal, before I thank you for your time, is the newer generation who's entering this world of corporate, for a lack of a better word, they have an ocean in front of them.
True.
They don't know where to go. They're ready to fail, but they don't know where to fail.
True.
Right? What's your message for them? How would you guide them in their journey, their journey to start?
I think I already covered it. Focus on fundamentals, focus on the first principles. Unfortunately, our colleges don't give a lecture on the first principles, how to think. They tell you like, okay, this is the chapter that you need to read, but they don't tell you how to think. That's the biggest edge that you need to build. हमें लगता है हम सोच सकते हैं, but to be honest, that's the rarest of rarest skill. You need to understand how to think. If you are able to get that point, you will be successful. So ultimately, for a students, for a new generation, they need to focus on how to think, fundamentals instead of in methods. Focus on the principles and learn from the right people, the right source. As I said, don't learn from the influencers, learn from the key opinion leaders. If you are able to manage these 3-4 things, by default you will find your own way. And the only, again I will repeat, just focus on how to think. If you understand the first principles and if you adopt this principle in your life, no technology can replace you. None of the technology can replace you, because people need a first principle thinkers in this world who are changing this world right now from the SF.
Awesome. One question, sorry to extend it. If someone wants to go from conventional to a tech-driven career, switch, they put in the hard work, they go deep, they focus on their fundamentals, they come out really competitive, right? Do you think modern companies, organizations will adopt them because they are not they probably may not be a degree holder in that domain, but they've learned their way? Do you think that aage jaake there is a scope of companies embracing this new generation of talent?
I think yes. The only reason is like nowadays, in my company, I have 70 developers, I don't care about their degrees. And almost everyone is moving in that thing. Like, do you understand the business? Like, do you understand your work or not? So there are two things, like theoretical knowledge and the practical knowledge. If you understand the practicality of that particular knowledge that you get from wherever domains by understanding the first principles and all, people will adapt you. And there are two things, like, okay, I want to become like AI competent person. That's your dream. You tried it out, but you haven't get success that you want, and still you are finding a job. In that case, it's going to be difficult. So let's say I love art, but I can't be artist. Definitely I tried, but after 3 months I realized like, okay, my hand is not able to do one curve.
Yeah, correct.
So it was my dream, it was my desire to become an artist, but I can't be artist because I don't have that skills with me.
Correct.
I tried, but even after giving lots of try, putting hard work, after understanding the fundamentals of drawing and everything, I'm not able to adapt it. In that sense, you just need to accept the reality and you need to find your way. Otherwise, like, if you have that practical knowledge, if you have that skills, and after putting hard work, definitely people will adapt you. Like, doesn't matter if you are of 30, 40, 60, if you understand the business, like, people needs you.
Correct.
So that's the thing.
Right, great. Thank you, Vishal. This was a lovely conversation, and good luck with all the developments that you're bringing about in the technology.
Thank you so much.
And this was an amazing conversation. Look forward to many more.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.